Hello to everyone in the Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Cathedral community. This is Father Jonathan. I hope you're doing well. I wanted to continue our conversation about Christian practices, but in this video, I wanted to shift foci from those more mundane things that we've been talking about, like meal prep and eating together and caring for our body and enjoying nature and household economics, and finally rest and finding time for quiet and prayer and meditation. All of these are really important, of course, and I'm trying to emphasize them so that we can see that our spiritual lives are more expansive than just those things like fasting and prayer and going to church, which are all extremely important and essential to our life of faith. But they're not alone in their essentialness as we cultivate a spiritual life. But this being Holy Wednesday, I wanted to talk about a practice that we do in the church that's beautiful. And what's interesting about it is it didn't always exist as something we would do during this time. And that's the service of Holy Unction, of Evangelion. It's a beautiful practice that we do on Holy Wednesday, but it wasn't always something that we did. It was added to the cycle of services much later, and recently, even in the last 100 years. And it's so beautiful that it's placed there because it's really pointing us towards something very important. It's revealing to us as a practice that we do together what is really happening during Holy Week. Yes, Christ has come and he's about to be crucified for our sins. But what does he do for us in our sins? Well, he's healing us. Because as many of the saints have said, the fathers and mothers of the church itself is a hospital, healing us from the wounds, the traumas, the illnesses of sin, of our tendency to fall short. It's not about breaking the rules and making up for breaking the rules. It's about real healing of our souls. And recently there's been discussions of the idea of psychotherapy in a spiritual sense is soul therapy. And there's a whole bunch of books on this topic from an Orthodox perspective of Orthodox psychotherapy, but soul therapy from psyche. And it's really important because this is what we're receiving in the church. We are receiving healing. And unction is a sacrament that's specifically meant for us in times of illness and sickness physically, but also is there for our spiritual healing. And so right in the middle of Holy Week, when we're on our way to the cross with Christ, we're given encouragement in the form of healing, a healing sacrament of Holy Unction, to remind us of where we're heading and what we're receiving. And Holy Unction, as I said, wasn't something that was always done in the middle of Holy Week. In fact, it was done when it was needed, when this holy oil was needed. And you can even call upon us as priests, and we can perform this sacrament at your home. We can pray these prayers at home. And you can receive Holy Unction then. And the unction that we make on Holy Wednesday becomes our reserve sacrament of Holy Unction that we use throughout the year when Father Vasilios or Father Christian or Father George or I come to the hospital or to your home to anoint you when you're sick, to give you Eucharist if you're unable to come to church. We get it from the sacrament that we make on Holy Wednesday, which is beautiful because of what I'm going to talk about tomorrow as well. Hold on for that. But I just wanted to say that everything that we do in the church, as I've said, all the practices we do are meant to orient us towards our ultimate goal, union with God, and the more immediate purpose of cultivating virtue and allowing for us to have the experience palpably of God's presence in the midst of the world, see how God is working in the midst of the world. But what prevents us from doing that is our tendency towards falling short, towards sin. And sin enters our life not as a bunch of rules that we've broken, but as wounds and traumas and illnesses that keep us from doing what we really know we ought to be doing, and hopefully what we really want to be doing, what is right, what is good, what is beautiful in the sight of the Lord, so that we can preserve communion with God, the freely given communion that we receive every time we receive the Eucharist in our life of faith. And so it's really important for us, as we consider the practices we do, how all of the practices are meant to heal us from our tendency towards falling short, heal us from our sinfulness, heal us from the reality that we don't always do what we want to be doing and what we know we ought to be doing. And so the sacrament of unction heals us, not only body, because we certainly pray over those who are sick and anoint them when they're physically sick. And during a time of pandemic, it's really important to be praying for the sick, but also not to forget, not to neglect the fact that our spiritual illness or spiritual sickness is just as important, if not more important. It's what's keeping us from our ultimate goal, our ultimate aim, which is union with God. God bless you. We're here for you. Don't hesitate to reach out. Please send us an email, call us, leave a message on social media, anything and all you need. We're here for you. Have a blessed rest of Holy Week. Remember to stay strong and diligent. Please join us by watching these services online through our streaming services on Facebook and YouTube. And remember to set up a space in your home for you to participate through prayer at a distance in these beautiful services. Remember to give us names also that we'll read during these services and at the end of the services, along with the prayer for healing and well-being. God bless you. We're here for you. Don't hesitate to reach out. Amen.